That's a beautiful sight, and it's a beautiful sight to be with you in a place called Fort Bragg. Can you believe they changed that name in the last administration for a little bit? But we'll forget all about that. Well, we're going to forget all about it. I want to just say God bless the U.S. Army and God bless the USA. Great place, great group.
So in 2020, I was a governor of a neighboring state to Tim Walz and watched him let his city burn. And the president and I have talked about this in the past, and he was not going to let that happen to another city and to another community where a bad governor made a bad decision. So Claudia Sheinbaum came out and encouraged more protests in LA, and I condemn her for that. She should not be encouraging violent protests that are going on. If people are allowed to peacefully protest, but the violence that we're seeing is not acceptable, and it's not going to happen in America. This president is standing up for the average American who wants to walk their child to school every day safely, run their small business, and provide for their families. That's the action that he's taken. He has every authority under the Constitution to send these National Guard under Title X into these communities and make sure that operations go smoothly, that law enforcement officers are protected, that they can continue to do their work without fear of being injured or killed or disrespected, and that they can go home to their families at night. So I'm incredibly proud of the president for activating the National Guard and for sending in these Marines, because these Marines are specifically trained to meet the need that we have on the ground in LA right now. And Governor Newsom has done a disservice to the state of California for many years. The people there should never elect him into a leadership position ever again.
We still don't know the full consequences of this unprecedented authoritarian overreach. But let me be clear. Congressional Democrats stand in full solidarity with the residents of Los Angeles, with our immigrant sisters and brothers, and with the peaceful protesters who dare to speak out and who will support every effort to oppose this president's abuse of power.
McCarthy about this earlier, and there's the president coming out of Air Force One to head down the stairs. We were talking with Andy McCarthy about this earlier, and he believes that the president is on firm legal ground to send the National Guard into Los Angeles, particularly given the historic precedent of Lyndon Johnson doing it in Alabama in 1965.
Exactly. And I think it's interesting, too, that and I'm wondering if there's a difference between the National Guard and the Marines. The National Guard that's usually held under the auspices of California, the governors generally having control of the Marines, which is clearly in the realm of the federal government, Secretary Hegseth, talking about the need for protection of the people on the ground, of the federal agencies on the ground. We are talking about federal agencies doing their work and being